All right, welcome back to the third and last part of our little video sequence on 5/3 chords versus 6/3 chords. Talk about primary triads, our tonic, subdominant, and dominant today. And so if I put this into kind of a little diagram chart here, just going up our scale, do, mi, or in minor I would have me, fa, sol, la, or in minor I would have lay, and then ti, and then that would take us back to do. So think of this as a circle that circles back around to the beginning, or if you're going down the scale, it would work that way. We're just going to do a simple little rule of the octave, which is we've written out the octave scale, do, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. We'll write the do at the end, why not? Give it a little bit more space there. La, ti, do, we're back to the beginning. And then we just remember that there are certain configurations that tend to go with these. Do, fa, sol, those are our strongest functional areas. That's my tetractys scale. Those are really strong bass notes. That represents my tonic. Represents my plagal, my authentic, and back to tonic. On these strong structural things, because they're strong, because they're structural, we want stable chords. So we put a 5/3 chord on it. Do 5/3, fa 5/3, sol 5/3, back to do 5/3. And those correspond to our functional areas. We can also translate them into Roman numerals. Do 5/3 is a 1 chord. Just put that right there. Our fa 5/3, scale degree number 4, scale degree number 5, scale degree number 1. There we go. Primary triads. These chords are less stable chords. And less stable chords, think of those notes as not being as stable in the bass. And so because they're not stable bass notes, we put our 6/3, our chords of motion on those. And so you can see, you can always see chord progressions moving. Do, stable, ti, unstable, back to do, stable. Or do, ti, la, sol. Or do, la, unstable, moving to sol. Or do, that's a tablature key. Do, do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, sol. Do, do, mi, once move, fa, sol. And then a half cadence. You can hear the 6/3 chords pushing to our stable points, our 5/3 points. And then just translating then really quickly, mi or me in minor, we drop down a third to the do. So these are both 1 chords, either 1/6, or in minor, of course, we could have a minor 1, do, me, sol, or a minor 1/6. Fa in minor would be a 5 chord. In minor would be a minor chord. There's my 5 chord coming up, which we use major and minor in both major and minor. It's always a 5. Sol, ti, re, we like to use that ti. La or lay, both of those you drop down a third to fa, that makes them 4s. So either the major 4 chord or the minor 4 chord, 6 chord there. Ti down a third is sol, so our 5, 6 here. And so you see these pairings here between do and mi, fa and la, and sol and ti. And so these actually have similar functions then. Fa and la can both be plagal. And you hear that. Do tonic, la plagal resolving to sol authentic. And so even these tend to use the same functions that our primary triads do, 1, 4, and 5. All right. So what you want to do when you're doing harmonic dictation then is you want to always to dictate the notes of the bass, remembering that the do, fa, sol are 5/3 chords, so 1, 4, and 5. The mi, la, ti are secondary bass notes. There are chords of motion, so they get 6/3 for now. So they're going to be 1/6, 4/6, and 5/6 respectively. And so once we get the bass line, we can in fact go ahead and figure out the chords. So let's listen to, okay, we're going to hear a chord progression. What are the Roman numerals of the chord progression? We're listening to that bass. Harmony is all about that bass. Da, da, Do you hear how unstable that pitch is? It wants to resolve to dum, bum. da, dum. I can always fill in skips. Dum, bum, bum, do, la, sol, do. So my bass line is do, la, sol, do. Okay, I know my do 5-3, la 6-3, unstable, moving to our sol 5-3, back to our do 5-3, and that's how we would do this in my class. I like solfege with figured bass. Need to translate into Roman numerals for inquisitive and for many classrooms around the country. So of course our do 5-3 is the same as a 1 chord. All of them start with 1. Okay, la 6-3, la down a third is fa, so that's going to be our 4 chord. So 1-4-6, sol 5-3. There it is. 1-4-6-5-1, do, la, sol, do. All right, let's go ahead and do this one. We're going to dictate the bass. We're going to dictate the soprano. We're going to dictate the chords. One thing we're going to see about this is when you know your harmony, you start with your bass, it narrows your choices for your melody line, and that makes your life easier. So let's do this really quickly. We'll get our bass on our first listening here. Did you hear it move through the tonic, plagal, authentic, back to tonic areas with a little bit of a color shift in the first 3? First of all, we definitely heard it in 3 because of those harmonic area shifts. Listen to it. Tonic, plagal, authentic, tonic. So I definitely heard my tetractys going on. Do, fa, sol, do. Now I got a little bit of a shift here. Do, mi, do, fa, 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 sol with the octave drop that often happens. Sol, do. All right, so dragging in our bass line. Do, mi, do, fa, 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 sol, sol, do. Well, what a great bass line, right? It's our do, fa, sol, do tetractys scale with a little consonant skip. Do, mi, do, just to give a little bit of interest to the bass line. And that's what these 6-3 chords are often used. They provide interesting embellishments of the bass line. They can act as passing chords in between our tetractys notes. They can act as consonant skips to tetractys notes. They're just fantastic that way. All right. Translating these into Roman numerals, do 5-3, of course, is a 1 chord. Mi, I know I put the 6-3 on mi, la, and ti, so mi 6-3. So to get my Roman numeral, I've got to drop down a third. Mi down a third is do, so it's a 1 chord. So I'm just going to say 1-6. Do 5-3, that's a 1. Fa 5-3, that's a 4. Fa 5-3 is still 4. Sol 5-3, that's our 5 chord. Back to do 5-3 is back to our 1. All right. Now, I've already know that I've narrowed down my choices for the bass. This is the one thing that Roman numerals tell us nicely, is I've narrowed down the choices for the soprano line. I said bass, I meant soprano. And so my notes in the upper voices above these, do 5-3, only my do, mi, and sols make sense constantly. Mi 6-3, only do, mi, sols. Or in this case, 1 tells you if these notes are all going to be do, mi's, or sols. The fa's, the 4, fa 5-3, fa la do. So fa la do are what I have possibilities for these notes. Sol ti re, these notes are going to be sol ti or re. So if I hear it skip somewhere and I don't know what note it skipped to, I've got 1 in 3 chance of guessing, and we can really kind of figure it out from there. So let's listen to our soprano. Not a lot of motion in the soprano, was there? Da, 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 dum, ba-dum. I definitely heard that T-do resolving at the end. Did you hear that? T-do. That's a strong motion. We often hear T-do just jump right out at us. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, I started and ended in the same note. So I started on my do. And it didn't do much. The bass line was the thing moving. Da, 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 dum. Okay, it skipped. So I know it didn't stay on the same note. So I didn't know it didn't go to do. For that matter, I know it didn't go to fa because we wouldn't do parallel octaves or contrary octaves in the upper voices. If they were both do, they wouldn't both go to fa. So that leaves, even if I can't hear what note it skipped to, I already know it had to have skipped to a la. da 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 la la sol, which is in fact what it did. So your Roman numerals can help you narrow down what the upper voices are, and that's very helpful doing these dictations. And there we go. Listen one more time just to trace those lines. Do, 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 la, 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 sol, ti, do. Easy enough. And so being aware of our little miniature rule of the octave, where we have do, fa, sol, all getting 5/3 chords, 1, 4, and 5. Mi, la, and ti, all getting passing 6/3 chords, chords of motion, 1, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6. And that really helps us be able to do harmonic in dictations.